Welcome back to Arkansas Bigfoot, everybody. I'm glad all of your eyeballs have popped open and you've had a chance to enjoy another day tromping around with us out here in the woods. We've got a lot of things to talk about and things to discover today. We've had so many things that we found. If you've been following on the last three videos, that it's just kind of been overwhelming, but wanted to come out today and check on the bucket full of beans and make sure little Bob's all right. But before we get started, I wanted to give a few shout outs. And these fellas, if you haven't had a chance to go take a look, they have got some excellent videos on their channels. The first one is Louis Chidwick. He's over in the UK. He does a lot of videos about the different stick glyphs and tree structures and nests that he's finding over there. And it's kind of eerie because if you watch his videos and watch our videos, the woods almost looks identical. And kind of eerie, spooky identical. The only difference is I have a sexier southern accent than his British accent, but you know, it
You can't have it all.
can't have it all, right? But anyway, get a minute, go check out Louis Chidwick. He's got some really good stuff on his channel. Next one is Pappy Two Bears. Got some really deep, insightful videos. Gives you a whole different perspective of how to look at things and situations that may come up and trip you up on your path. But Pappy Two Bears has got some phenomenal videos on his channel. Last but not least, go check out SoCal Forest Ninjas SRG. I think that guy is kind of like my Western counterpart. He was probably a brother by another mother in a previous life or something, but he has got some wild, crazy activity going on that he reports about. SoCal Forest Ninjas SRG, Pappy Two Bears, and Louis Chidwick. If you get a minute, go check those guys out. It'll be worth your time, I promise. We're right here behind the house where the wood starts. I don't really ever show this part of it, but I wanted you guys to take a look at it here. And once you hit the tree line, it's dense pines and brush that grow up, and then it opens up into that bottom that you're used to seeing. But on those past three videos that you watched, the Mr. Twinkle Toes and Knuckles and Bones, and we were seeing things afterward in the video that we missed while we were in the woods walking around. You know, it's just absolutely a lot to take in all in one bite, but we're going to talk about some of that today and on our way back to go check on these trees and see if anything's been happening. It's still wet and it's still drizzling a little bit of rain, but fortunately it warmed up about 10 or 12 degrees, so it's not as biting cold today. When we did those three videos, it was sleet and rain. It was just right at 32, 33 degrees. Today it's about 45, so it's not too bad. It had came up in conversation about the way that Bigfoot or Sasquatch have an ability to view things in their environment, and we were kicking around different ideas, and I wasn't sure if it was kind of like being able to see the whole picture on the ground, kind of like looking into an aquarium or something. And Rachel brought up a really, really good point, and then Pappy Two Bears had commented and basically said essentially the same thing that Rachel was talking about. But we think that they're eyes have the ability to see the energy of any of the living things that are in their environment. I don't know if any of you are familiar with or know what I'm talking about when I say the word aura photography. But there are tons of videos and pictures on YouTube about it. It's kind of interesting to look at some of that, and if you get a minute to do that, that's fantastic. But it, through photography, can measure the energy and the color spectrums around people or animals, basically anything with a life force.
And we've never seen them hurt anything in the woods that's alive. We're kind of thinking about it and realized.
Well, don't say that, because we found those deer bones, so we don't know if that's.
True that. Possibly food.
But I think what you're getting at is like the tree structures, the limbs and stuff. It's all been made out of like used deadfall, and the tree arches themselves are living trees that haven't been broken.
Or a sapling that's
the broken trees were ones that were dead that they broke the top off of. But anyway, going back to that whole aura photography thing, if you look at some of those pictures and videos, you'll get an idea of what I'm trying to explain. But you can see the prisms, the color, the energy force around living things. And I mean, this is just our speculation, our thoughts. There's no way to validate it. It's just what, something that we're thinking. But we think that possibly Bigfoot, Sasquatch can see their environment and people and animals and the things in their environment in that same spectrum, where it doesn't matter if it's daytime or nighttime, they can see the energy emitting off of the life force. But that was one of the...
And that weirdo dream I had was basically, in the dream, it was basically walking through the woods with the energy of the Sasquatch and seeing the life force around the trees, the blue, the pink, no, the green, the pink, the white. And like they were showing me what they saw. I'm not sure I completely remember all of it enough to apply it, but it's really fascinating to me.
But maybe this will give you a little better image of what it's like directly behind the house before we get down into the bottoms and how close we actually are to it. Like that rock throwing video, we could hear when we got out of the truck the big kersplunks going on in the water.
Ironically, the last time we turned the lights out before we got this close and we had no trouble. I just don't think they like that surprise of the lights.
And that Knuckles and Bones video, right as we were getting up to the tree, Rachel had me turn around. She was pointing back behind us on the trail and was asking about the big limb structure that was shaped in the form of a Union Jack. And I didn't remember seeing it, and we're getting close to the spot where it's at now, so we'll see if it's still there or if it's partly there or whatever. But that was something we couldn't see from the gifting tree. I believe that's the remnant of it
Yeah.
right there. I think when that water got great big, that it must have taken the bottom out of it. So that kind of makes sense and explains why that wasn't visible from where we were standing, because the bigger parts of it have washed on down. But that was something I was curious about, and we wanted to check it out. And
We really didn't get onto this side of the water yesterday. There was so much going on the other side.
yeah, we stayed down in the low part and need to really look around up here on this hill and look for different structures and glyphs and stuff. And so possibly, and here we go out on a thin limb in theory again, but we were talking about the boots just instantly manifesting within 12 or 18 hours of talking about them. And it makes you wonder just what kind of connections that they really do have, what abilities or skill sets they really do have. I mean, nobody knows or understands it completely. It's all just conjecture, and everybody's got an opinion. But I thought it was pretty phenomenal that that type of thing happened. And anytime we've talked about any of the stuff back here either being missing or whatever, it seems like within a day or two or short order, it appears or it shows up in some position or fashion. So maybe
there's a lesson in that. I think it's about whatever you put your focus into. How do I want to say it? Your intention, your focus, then it presents itself in some form. And I'm not just talking about in the woods, but if we were to probably pick apart our own worlds.
Just in general, what you focus on becomes your reality. Is that what you're
maybe
getting at, or?
That sounds thicker than what I'm thinking of, but what was it last night when I walked outside?
Something else that was a thought on my mind this morning over my 5-gallon mug of coffee.
Right.
Trying to get both eyeballs pried open at the same time. My deep interior rattle in the back of my brain was the things that we leave out here in the gifting trees, the little toys and baubles and whatever like that. That's the stuff that they seem intrigued with, that keeps going on this merry-go-round of appear and disappear. And so if it's something we have focused on and touched it and put our energy into,
is it like a fingerprint?
Is it like a residual fingerprint that they know it and acknowledge it, and so that's what they...
Or does it give energy to that object that might otherwise not have energy?
I don't know, but I need another mug of coffee for that conversation.
That's okay. When I took the dog out, 2 words came to my mind: energetic manipulation. And where does that come from? Out of nowhere, taking a dog out for a walk.
Well, I'm not going to go there, but I could say something that's normal to what I usually say in situations like that. But
Right.
well, I don't know. I think it's all still there.
I believe it is. That's good. I can put my little sand bucket in.
Well, it's only been, 24 hours, so I don't...
We really don't know. We haven't tracked them to see how often they hit these spots.
We just know that it had been 5 days or 6 days since we'd been out here the last time, but no, everything is exactly the way we left it in this one. Nothing's been touched.
Huh. Very cool.
And maybe just with all that rain and freezing sleet we got yesterday, they moved on up into a drier, warmer spot.
Is
I
this where we
would.
want this?
I think we're going to take this other one back to the other tree.
Okay.
Why would you want to sit both of them up right here?
Who knows why I want to do what I do?
I don't know. If I ever figure you out, I'll have the keys to the universe.
That's
so.
right.
So, I said 24 hours later on this one, maybe they don't like beans and cornbread. I don't know.
It's not
But
looking touched.
the apple's still there and the mango's still there. Everything's just exactly like we left it. So we're going to let this be what it is for right now and not mess with it. We'll go back and look at the other tree and see. Back there closer to Skunk Island where we left little Bob. But if you look out across there, you see all that water came up in that pine.
Yeah, sure is.
So it got pretty wet down here last night. They may be way up over there somewhere. It'll be easier to cross the creek here, Rachel, and then we'll go down to that other tree and check it out. You can do it.
Don't judge me. Okay. Thank you for the boots.
I think maybe we just got too anxious and excited from yesterday. We came back too quick. I don't know.
Oh, you know, we saw that one spot on the video where there was that whole foot.
Yeah, when we
missed it yesterday.
get up here a little ways, I'm going to point this out to you because we noticed it on the video and didn't realize it because I was busy walking around with the camera trying to show you the limbs on this stump, but right there square on the ground was a great big footprint. I hope we didn't just jinx ourselves talking about it. Now it'll be gone. I got it, yeah.
Keep my day job.
So anyway, on this limb deal going on this stump, I was so busy shooting the angle on it that I never bothered to look down.
That's Junior.
Rachel says that's Junior's foot.
And they say, what was it we were just watching? They say the female's foot is wider at the heel than the male foot. And this I would, if they're already sex delineated at his age, I would say is a male. And look this though. I just noticed how this is like pushed in.
Yeah.
Super.
So is that where a foot went right there?
Well, I don't know because it's here too. So maybe this way?
But I walked around the outside edge of it just like you are.
Yeah.
With the camera, but.
I didn't see it this way.
So you're saying the female has wider features?
I'm saying that's what they say. I have not personally measured the foot of a female or a male Sasquatch, just for the record. But the female is supposed to have a wider heel than what they believe are the males.
A shorter, broader foot is
Yes.
what you're saying.
Well, definitely broader. I don't know how short is short in the realm of Bigfoot, but I love this.
Yeah,
This
this
is the craziest
just
thing I've
blows my mind right here. This whole thing is tied in a big loop-de-knot around this tree.
Around.
It goes around and it's tied around that tree and laced off.
Here's the end of it.
And that was something else, that little track mark there. We didn't take a second to look at it because we were looking at the vine the way it was tied off on this tree.
They're not shy about leaving their footprints, really.
Well, not back here anyhow.
It's kind of an anomaly with all the pine needles, but I don't feel like it's about them being shy. I just think it's a matter of terrain.
I'm trying not to misquote what we were listening to last night, but it was something to the effect that when you see a lot of activity or actually have the sightings and stuff, it's usually always when there's juveniles involved, and it's like they're out there kind of scurrying around doing whatever kids would do, and then the adults have to get involved trying to pull the reins back on them to get them to calm down, kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of what he was saying? But
that was their assessment, and what was it, Patterson? Gimlin told them they thought that Patty was intentionally presenting herself so that they would not detect the juvenile as a matter of protection, and they said they make a lot of mistakes just for that very reason, to protect their young.
She got up and walked across that open landscape as a decoy so they wouldn't find the juvenile that she'd hid down in the brush. But when they had followed the tracks around through the course of the rest of that day, the tracks had came back to where they thought she had hid a juvenile, and there were small juvenile tracks there as well. That was something I didn't know until yesterday.
Well, you know, when I saw the one between, when you were having your rant on that video, and I saw the one between trees, I did not have video running at the time, but I really believe that what we call Junior, the juvenile, was probably very close to where we were, and she was within 40 yards of me, enough that I could see her clearly, and she just kept on about her way. She didn't try to get aggressive or growl or do anything, you know.
Well, I don't rant. I just have a forcible personality. It's kind of like steel wool dipped in battery acid and chased with a shot of turpentine, but did you drop your bucket?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's water standing back here now that wasn't here yesterday, so we got a lot yesterday evening.
Yeah, we were talking about these woods too, and I made a joke about the fact that constellations had come to me, and I wonder sometimes if they've looked at so many that they don't make shapes resembling them. But I've also thought about sacred geometry, or what they consider sacred geometry, and wonder if they don't use that as one of the oldest and more primal languages. I wish I had the education to decipher some of these.
Well, from here I can see that the fruit is gone out of the tree.
Let's go look. No, that mango's there.
Is it still there?
Let's see.
Well, you know, that tells me that it's not some little varmint that's coming into the tree grabbing stuff. They've claimed this space as their own and nothing messes with it. I think they've just gone, huh?
The apple's gone, the mango's there. The apple is at the top, and the toy is behind the mango.
I think they have just gone up there into that higher and drier area for the night, but
not sure what to think about the apple. All right, I'm gonna try this. This is not easy. Wait a minute, I gotta eat this first, because I am not gonna get in there. They cannot have my copy. Nope. I'm a generous person, but nope.
no caffeine for Bigfoot, huh?
No.
Well, you feed him up with a sugar buzz, but you won't give him a taste of coffee. That ain't right. If looks could kill.
I have some banana. I don't know. All this food is still here, so.
Well, go ahead and put them there. We're back here, so leave it for them.
I'm gonna try this. You know, I don't know how they did that so well because that's not easy in the sand.
Probably because it was wet.
You can barely see mine.
Yeah, that sand's dry. It's not going to hold an impression. They had to have done that in the other box when it was still wet.
Another cheap harmonica. They'll make it. I want to know what they did with my papers. Alright, guys.
If I only had a rubber band gun.
Rubber band would be better than a BB gun. You said leave it?
Yeah, go ahead. You already cut it in half, so I might as well leave them back here and see.
She needs a haircut.
I don't know. They might not know what mangoes are. I've never heard of Bigfoot down in the tropics, but
Maybe we should have peeled one.
I'll leave it there. They might get curious about it and see.
Yeah, they left the apple on the other ones.
But bananas don't grow naturally up here either, so it's not like, who knows?
I guess it's always possible the critter could come down the inside of that, but that apple's wedged in there tight. It'd have to be a pretty stout creature.
All right, so
I don't know about these
I
rocks.
think
so.
they've gone up there onto those hills where it's a little drier and out of this muck and slime. But the other thing that we noticed on the video that we were not talking about because we were looking at so many other different things was this tree over here, and it's got this great big impression where something's been sitting there, you know, watching, tree picking, boredom, whatever, and all that bark you can see is peeled up and peeled down and kind of picked around at it like something sitting there bored and messing with it. So get that image burned into your brain, and then look over here. And I said I thought the nest looked like something had been working on it, and that whole great big limb that's right there, that's the piece that came off of that tree. I'm certain of it. That's what, 10 foot at least, 12 foot maybe.
10 or 12. I know
And
it's
it's
heavy.
big around as my leg at the bottom.
And that's, I think, fairly fresh. I mean, obviously fresh compared to these. I thought it was pretty cool.
Well, looks like they got the cornbread you left in there.
And they left the drink.
They left the drink.
They don't know how to open it?
Probably not.
Oh, for God's sake, do I have to do everything for these people? Hold my coffee, please.
Great, I got the coffee.
Oh, look.
There's cornbread bag.
No, we had one of those industrial.
Yeah,
This is an
that
old
must
one.
be an older one.
That's one of those last popcorn bags we left, I think.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the bag that the cornbread had been in.
Last one, the whole bag is gone.
Yeah, I'd have thought for sure they'd have took that drink, because I'll make a confession now. That cornbread was jalapeno cornbread.
Oh, Lord.
It's a wonder there's any water left in the creek.
All right, I'm gonna try that. If they don't figure it out with that, they're on their own.
Probably couldn't smell through the plastic. I don't know.
Didn't even intrigue them. They know those Ziploc bags, though. So, where did it go?
All right, guys, I think we're going to go look at some other stuff, and we'll pick this up in just a little bit. I appreciate everybody joining along. Hit the like, share, subscribe buttons, ring that bell so you can keep up with all of our craziness out here. Like I said, if you get a chance, go check out Louis Chidwick, Pappy Two Bears, SoCal Forest Ninjas SRG. They got some pretty good stuff on their channels.
Too.
And we will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks.